Yes, we're still talking about Mount Vesuvius and Pompeii. Now, you're going to look up the meaning of some words. To do this, I suggest you use the Cambridge Learner's Dictionary. Now, you can find this at this web address or just Google Cambridge Learner's Dictionary. The important thing is, when you look up the meaning of any word in a dictionary, make sure that you also check whether the word is a noun, a verb, an adjective, an adverb, or some other type of word. When you know what type of word it is, this is going to help you to understand how to use that word in a sentence, whether it can have a past tense, if it's a verb, or whether it should be used with a noun, if it's an adjective, or if it has to be used with another verb, like an adverb, or with an adjective, etc. So make sure you don't just look up the meaning, but you understand what is this word, which part of speech is it, so then you can use it. Here's the first word, an easy one to start with, poured. You probably know this word, okay? Look it up if you don't. You can pause the video now on each word if you want to look it up. Make a note of its meaning. Here, next, this is the second word, grew. Grew. Again, pause and look it up if you need to. Now, here's the third word, drifted. Okay, also quite an easy word. Maybe you already know this word. Next, erupted. You probably know this word, but look it up if you need to. Sputter. Now, maybe you don't know this word, so you probably need to pause the video here and look it up and make a note of what it means. Now, the next word, clogged. Clogged. Again, pause the video if you need to. And this word, devoured. Devoured. Look it up if you need to. Now, after you have found out what the words mean, I want you to read the text on page 10 of your students' books, exercise 1, where you will use all of those words to complete the text. Okay, there are some blanks in the text. Use the words that you've just looked up so that the whole text makes sense. Again, you can pause the video, and once you've finished putting in these missing words, there's another task or two for you to do. Okay, you should have finished putting in the missing words. So next, also on page 10, on the same page of your students' books, you can see exercise 2 at the bottom of the page, where you need to change 3 sentences from passive voice and change them into active voice sentences. Now, to remind you how we do this, I'll show you a brief explanation. So, let's take a normal sentence like this. The man was bitten by the dog. Now, this is a passive voice sentence, but we need to change it back into active voice. This is how we do it. Who or what is the agent? The person or the thing that did the action? Well, it was the dog. The dog was the thing that did the biting. Who or what is the subject of this passive sentence? Well, this passive sentence is about the man. So which word is the verb? Well, it's the passive verb was bitten. Now, to make this into an active voice sentence, all we need to do is to make the agent into the subject. So we put the dog at the beginning of our active voice sentence. And then we must change this passive verb, was bitten, just make it into an active verb. And then make this sentence's subject, the man, put that as the object. So we're just basically, instead of going from blue, green, red, in this passive sentence, we're going to make a red, green, blue sentence. As simple as that. So start off with the dog. Now we have was bitten, which is the past was, and then verb 3, bitten. So this is a past passive, past tense passive voice. It's not is bitten, present passive, it's past passive. So all we need to do is change it into the past tense. Was bitten becomes the dog bit. What did the dog bite? He bit the man. And then the only last thing that we really need to do now is just make sure that our sort of punctuation is correct. The letter T obviously has to become a small t, whereas this T we'd have to make it capital and put our full stop at the end. Then it's perfect. So go and do exercise 2 and change those 3 sentences into passive voice. But there's one thing you might need to know. You know basically how to change those passive sentences in exercise 2 from passive to active voice. We've got this one. The volcano was watched by the people. The town was smothered in superhot ash. And a diary describing the eruption has been written by Pliny. Now, this one here was watched. This is a past passive. So you're going to change that into the simple past tense, verb 2. The town was smothered. Again, past passive. So you change it into simple past tense. Has been written. This is a different tense. This is a present perfect tense in passive voice. So I'll help you here. This would be really good for you to take notes of or keep a copy of this because you'll be using this all year. So if we have present simple, James writes the letter. Notice the letter is only one. And the second sentence, James writes the letters. This one is plural. It ends in an S. This is present simple tense. When we make it passive voice, we add the verb to be. Is present tense. Is written by James. But the second one, when the letters are plural, are written by James. Past simple tense, the next one. James wrote the letters. The first one, James wrote the letter, singular. James wrote the letters, plural. So the letter was written by James, and if it's plural, the letters were written by James. Now, present continuous, James is writing the letter, James is writing the letters. And again, it's the same thing. The letter is being written by James, the letters are being written by James. So far, easy. Now here comes the present perfect tense. James has written the letter, or James has written the letters, plural. When we make this into a present perfect passive, the letter has been written by James, has been written. or plural, the letters have been written by James. So this is probably going to help you to answer that third sentence in exercise 2, which is a present perfect passive. But I'll just show you this one as well, because this will help you in exercise 3. If we're using a modal verb like must, James must write the letter, or plural, James must write the letters. The letter must be written by James, or plural, the letters must be written by James. Interesting, must be written is the same for singular and plural. And look at this, shut the door. Now this is someone ordering you or telling somebody to do something. So they don't say, you shut the door. We just say, shut the door. Or, sit down, stand up. They're just simple commands. So there's no subject. But we know who they're talking to. They're talking to us. Yes, it's an order being said or shouted at us. So for these, it's an order, so it must be done. The door must, and then our verb to be shut. And you could add the agent. Okay, these last two with must and this order and command, this will help you to do exercise 3. Anyway, go and do page 10, exercise 2, changing the passive voice sentences into the active voice. Press pause on the video now, and then after I'll talk to you about exercise 3. Okay, you should have finished exercise 1 and exercise 2. Let's take a look at exercise 3 on the same page. The dogs bit the man. This sentence is an active voice sentence. It's a normal sentence. We need to start changing this into passive voice. We've already seen this before, but just to remind you, who or what is the subject of this sentence? It's the dogs. The sentence is all about these dogs. Which is the verb of this sentence? It is bit, which is the past tense of bite. So this is a verb too. It's a past tense sentence. And who or what is the object of this sentence? Well, what or who did the dogs bite? They bit the man. And just like before, to change this into a passive voice sentence, we just do the reverse of what we did before. We take the object, the man, in this sentence, and we make it into the subject of our passive sentence. So we put that at the beginning. Then we change the verb, bit, which is past tense, into the passive verb, passive voice. So, was, and then verb 3. It's only one man, singular man, so the man was bitten. If the dogs bit many people, then it would be the men were bitten. But this is singular, it's just the man. And then the man was bitten. If we want to add the agent, we would put by the dogs. And once again, it's almost perfect, except this has to be lowercase. Start the sentence with a capital letter and add a full stop, and then it's perfect. Okay, so just 3 exercises. So that's 6 sentences and 8 words. Very easy today. By the way, we'll check the answers in class once everyone has completed the work. So it's not much, 6 sentences and 8 words. You should be able to do this within this 1 hour. But some people are still taking 3 days or more to do something as simple as this, okay? This is slowing down the whole class, the whole of grade 6, because I'm not giving everybody the answers until everyone's completed it. So anyone who doesn't complete this work within 3 days, as usual, will lose dojo points and score 70% or less. But I'm also not going to be happy with you, because 6 sentences and 8 words, if you cannot complete that in 20 minutes, then you really have a problem, okay? Anyway, please do it quickly. It's not that difficult. See you soon.